show was surprising. We got a mugging, or at least someone getting put over pretty well because they mugged somebody. But before we get to that, let's look at everybody else. Let's look at one thing that was a little surprising. That was the fashion police of Fandango and Tyler Breeze. Look, I know they're going after the Usos, and I know a lot of people don't really care that much about them. But I've always said this. Give two guys that have some level of charisma a real gimmick, and then you sponsor it, and you never know, you might get surprised. Look at New Day. New Day was given a gimmick that you thought was a piece of garbage, and they ran with that sucker, and they shocked everyone how well over they was. And I've always said this about Breezango. If they're packaged properly, they could get over. What they did in this video segment, going to their precinct of the fashionistas and talking about what's going to happen in Backlash, was actually pretty well done. Was it funny? Yeah, it wasn't great, but it was funny. And I enjoyed seeing that they're talking about the Usos, talking about what it means to be fashion police. Oh, they're twins. Oh, we got to book them, Dano. Oh, they wear terrible clothes. We got to book them, Dano. Oh, they dance really bad. We definitely got to book them, Dano. And that's Fandango being told that by Tyler Breeze. It wasn't a bad gimmick. It's funny. If you turn your motor off and just accept it for what it is, it's funny. But that's if Smackdown creative team will push it. If they don't push it, if they don't show it on Smackdown, it doesn't mean anything. So this was good, but they gotta continue it. That's just me. Ty Dillinger versus Aiden English. I always forget the guy's name. This time I remembered it. I guess it's because my son's half-brother is named Aiden. That's how I was able to remember. But what did this really mean? Ty Dillinger is beginning to get pushed because they truly believe, because he does the 10 gimmick, people want to see him get somewhere. Now, is he a great wrestler? He's a good wrestler. Does he have good charisma? I think it needs work. Can he talk? No. I just do not see Ty Dillinger as a very good talker. I know a lot of people would say, well, in NXT was a great talker. We're going from NXT, where normally they really give you a lot of creative control, to SmackDown, where yes, they don't have the same restrictions as Raw. You got Raw, who totally controls your ass and really doesn't give you a lot to work with, and then you got SmackDown that's below that, that gives you better creative control of your character, to give you more opportunities. But this is still SmackDown, so they are still a little limited. They do control you to a certain extent due to the fact that this is a 2-hour show, and to the WWE is considered the B show. So it is good to see they are trying something with him, but it does not mean that it's a lot. For him to progress somewhere, he's going to have a major feud with someone that's important. And that kind of leads me into the Dolph Ziggler-Sin Cara match. Dolph Ziggler didn't care. Sin Cara wearing green. You look pretty cool, but as I've always said about Sin Cara, if this is still Hunico, I don't hate Hunico, but it is obvious that Hunico is out of shape. If this is Hunico still, Hunico needs to get in better shape because he looks like he gets tanked very easily. I know he can still fly around in the ring. He can fly outside the ring. He can fly inside the ring. But let's be honest here. He looks a bit tanked, particularly with that belly he's got. He's not a Kevin Owens. He isn't. And he looks like he gets tanked a little easier than he used to be like 5 or 6 years ago. Of course, he could be a much older wrestler now. He could be my age and he's pretty getting tired. But I think he needs to get in some shape. You guys tell me below if I'm right or not, if that is Hunico and if he needs to get in better shape or not. We got a win for Dolph Ziggler, but this is just a build up for Shinsuke Nakamura. And we didn't see Shinsuke. And I felt like, why couldn't you done something on the Titantron to mess with Dolph Ziggler a little bit after he won the match? I think that would have been good for him. I know this isn't what Shinsuke normally does for his character. It doesn't have to be something he needs to say. He just has to be shown. They can do his intro theme on there just to fuck with him. At least just this once. I know that's what American wrestlers do, but sometimes it can work if you do it once. Just once. Now, let me give it to you like this. Seeing Lana, and I don't have any images of her. Do I care? Yes, I do. But the thing that gets me with Lana is that since she's never really wrestled, they're really pushing her hard. My question is, will they really push her? I mean, with the returning Rusev eventually around Money in the Bank, of course something's going to happen for her. But it's also going to depend on how well she's trained in the last 2 some odd years. Because if you looked at Total Divas, and I had, when she was taught, not talked about, shown, she said she wanted to get in the ring, and they said, we're going to keep you with Rusev because we want to give you some more time, essentially speaking. Because Rusev was hot at the time, and they knew she wasn't ready. But is she ready? That's the question. Yes, they're bringing her up, but does that mean she's ready? I pose that to you guys. Do you believe that Lana's ready or not? Also, New Day is coming, but the question is when. Is it after, well, we still don't know when Kofi Kingston's coming back. The question is he going to be back in a couple more weeks, a couple more months? Maybe they're waiting until he comes back before New Day's going on to Smackdown. I don't mind it as long as it's all of them. Because if they wait too long, they could burn out the crowd because they want them, but they can be burned out and get bored. That's just how I feel. But I don't think that's going to happen. This is actually kind of good to give New Day a bit of a gap, a rest. But this is just my point of view. Let's get to the women's tag match. Now, what happened to Charlotte? It feels like they're trying to build Charlotte as a face now. They're trying to change her over a little bit. Doesn't mean she's changed yet. But it feels like they're going to turn Charlotte from heel to face. And to be honest, I really don't care about her heel or face. I really don't. I still don't see something for me personally to care about Charlotte. I just don't. Maybe when she turns face, maybe I'll care. But as it stands, it's like they're teasing her to become face. Now, when she got her ass beaten up by the welcome committee, if that's what they're being called, I wonder. Now, when it came to the match between Naomi and Carmella and Natalya, my baby came to the ring dancing. She had to go in there by herself, and she kicked some ass by herself for quite a while before Charlotte came to the ring. And then what I thought was, well, she's going to start kicking everybody's ass and then she's going to win the match. No. Carmella gets the pin. Carmella gets the pin. I'm not happy about that. Not. I don't like seeing Naomi get a loss. And you guys know how I feel about Naomi. Naomi does not deserve to be put in a very stupid storyline. She worked very hard to get where she is. And I don't want to see her go into a very stupid storyline where she's got traction, people love her, she's here. She can easily go, gone. If they push her wrong, if the storylines are bad, they take the title off her and then they start putting in stupid storylines, she will go from here and she will drop like a rock. And I don't want to see that for her. People are actually very happy to see Naomi. They actually love her a lot. They actually have a care for her. So I'm hoping they're not going to actually start putting in stupid storylines and make her job very badly at Backlash. That's what I'm hoping that's not going to happen. Now, anything else I'm forgetting here? Okay, that's it. I know I could talk about Becky Lynch. I gotta say something about her. She didn't turn heel. Simply put, she should have turned heel. And she's in my face because it's stupid. And she's out of my face. Now I'm going to Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. We get, Look, I love Chris. The list is over. What he did with Aiden English was fun. I enjoyed seeing the list. Enjoyed seeing Aiden English. I know I can say something about Aiden English a little bit more, but him crying and then getting on the list, that's all that needs to be said. But when you see the beginning of the show with Shane McMahon and Chris Jericho, it had a big feel to it. It felt important. Taking away from AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, and then the fight between those two, and then Shane barring AJ Styles from being at the ring, you get the end of the night. Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho. Good match. I felt that was the best match of the night. It was. It had a big feel to it. It was important. And then you had something surprising. I felt that Chris was not going to job here. I know a lot of people saying, well, Chris is not going to be staying much longer. He's going to be leaving in a couple of months, going to a Fonzie or going to take a break. I know. I've heard the rumors. I have. But I thought at least he would hold it until Backlash. He drops it here. And then he does a mugging. He gets a mugging from KO. Literally a mugging. He get his ass not just handed to him, badly handed to him. Almost as bad as Roman Reigns. Not as bad. You got Roman Reigns here. You got this right here. There is a gap. But it was a bad mugging that he received. Now, of course, unless they're going to say, well, Chris Jericho is now forfeiting his right to become the #1 contender for the U.S. title, we're going to have a triple threat at Backlash. You're going to have Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho. My guess is that's what we're going for. There's still at least 3 weeks before, at least 3 to 4 weeks before we actually have the match. I think it's May 21st. So I think we have about 2 to 3 weeks before this actually happens. And I don't know what's going to happen. But Chris put over... The reason I'm botching is that to put him over like that, Chris had to be willing to swallow his pride and say, I want to get this new talent over. I'm going to let him destroy me to get him over. And that's a pretty good thing for Kevin Owens. But it's also going to be a question, well, how Kevin Owens is going to be treated after Backlash. Because he could be destroyed at Backlash. Or he can look like roses. It's hard to say. But this was a beautiful thing to see. This destruction of Chris Jericho was actually pretty good. The mugging of Chris Jericho. I think that's the better title for this video. But you guys tell me below. This was a pretty good show, but really seeing Chris job like that? Whew. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.